Hi, my name is Martin. I'm a specialist technical coach and mentor in Open Formula. In this video, I'm going to share with you my insights and opportunities that I saw from the race today in Monza. If you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're going well. Let's kick off with Max Verstappen and the start. Regular viewers of the channel, you'll know exactly where I'm going with this. No defensive posture from four-time world champion, expert in racecraft, Maximilian Verstappen. Why? I'm not sure. Your guess is as good as mine. At this point, I'd be starting to think, is it legal? Is it in the rules? Are you actually allowed to line your car up diagonally across and shoot to the inside? Because if Max, four-time world champion, doesn't do that in Monza, what are we talking about here? Like, what's going on? So, yeah, let's assume that it is legal and that this was an oversight from Max. That sounds strange now that I say it, but yeah, I just don't see any other reason. Let's assume that it is legal, and I've still got my notes on the whiteboard, guys, from this yesterday, and I was pretty much saying, look, Max here needs to angle his car across and shoot across to the inside as quickly as possible and get to this space over here so that Lando needs to put steering lock in if he's going to go around and start to attack around the outside. I pretty much drew it and I said, yeah, this falls underneath racecraft. So I was, yeah, we spoke about it yesterday. It's just one of the many insights that I provided you guys after qualifying. And I was like, Max, this is very important. Max needs to do this. So he didn't do it. And I was disappointed. And it cost him the lead, as it should, right? And as I thought it would. A few guys like on my social media and YouTube, and particularly last time out in Netherlands, were saying, Oscar didn't need to cover it because this would have happened. He was thinking about P3 and or he was doing all this extra management. And I'm like, guys, if you line your car up and pull to the inside, you will never, ever, ever have a problem. Like I've always done it and it's always worked for me. And that, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So I'm going to bring up the images. Let's have a look at them together. So this was the first one. Max look, there was a little bit of an angle, a little bit, like ever so slightly. But it wasn't like, if I was coaching Max, this is not what I would expect. It's got to be a bit sharper. It's got to be, you want to come across and just catch the lights here. And that means that Lando's got to go around before the lights as well. And you don't get into that situation where you have no insurance policy. Because if Lando gets a good start, bang, he's straight up the inside, side by side. They're getting towards side by side. And eventually this road runs out and Max actually squeezes Lando off. That's also a little bit of a gray area. I don't have much to say on that. The road runs out, Lando's alongside. Is he sufficiently alongside? Was it dirty by Max? There's all of that in there as well. All I can say is hats off for Lando keeping his foot in there and then getting it in there under braking as well. This is class from Lando, like good start up the inside of Max. Like to get up the inside of Max is not straightforward and Lando's managed to do that here. So at this point, into turn one, there is also another big discussion as to who is entitled to space and who is sufficiently alongside. I feel like Lando's done most of the good hard work here, but it's interesting because according to the rules, they're both as entitled to it. Like Lando's the attacking car. He's more than front axle to mirror, which is what he needs to be. So then Lando's entitled to space in that case. Again, he's the attacking car. And yeah, Max goes off, 2 into 1 doesn't go. And I think, yeah, I'd be, it's difficult to say in the rules per se, but I think, yeah, I think they did Max did the right thing to give that place back and Lando did the right thing as well. I'll bring up the rules and show you guys like what it says. Yep, so this is it here. So it's Lando and you're overtaking on the inside. And for overtaking on the inside of a corner, a driver must be given room if they satisfy the following conditions. They have their front axle at least alongside the mirror, tick. Safe and controlled manner, tick. Without deliberately forcing the other car off at the track exit, tick. Made the corner within track limits, tick. So Lando satisfied all that and Max still goes off. It's not Lando's problem at that point. So good job by Lando. That's class. That's good starts, good racecraft, good attack. We don't often say that about Lando, but I thought that was really good. And from Max's point of view, I think that was his only mistake in the race, to be honest. Luckily for him, it wasn't like a race winning and didn't cost him the race win, let's say it like that. Because other than that, like Max was a machine, guys. So then he gets the lead back with a beautiful move around the outside of turn one. I think he took advantage of all his braking skills that actually got him qualifying, got him pole position in qualifying. Braking on the rubber, braking on the racing line. He forced Lando into a defensive position. He, broke nice and late, wrapped up Lando, got sufficiently around the outside. Lando a little bit compromised there, just on the inside, not with the braking grip, kind of offline. I thought that was a classy move from Max to get the lead back. And then he just goes on a run of like fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap. And not only that, the consistency. It was like 23.0, 23.0, 23.0. A few laps later, fastest lap, 22.8. And I'm like, geez, man, Max is really in the groove. That's Max at his best, like taking the lead back, consistency, fast. That was all excellent from Max. So other than that, turn one, he was a machine. Now, lap 29, we got those slow-mo photos. I'm not sure if you guys saw it as well, but it was of the blistering on Max's inside front tires. Let's take a quick moment to talk about blistering and graining. What's the difference? Well, blistering is when the core temperature, and there's a difference here between core temperature and surface temperature. The core temperature of the tires gets too hot relative to the surface, and then it kind of erupts like volcanoes from the inside out. Graining is the opposite. Graining is when the surface temperature is hot and the core temperature is cooler, and then it kind of slides and grains on the surface. That's why graining can clean up, because when that core bulk temperature of the tire increases and matches your surface temperature, bang, your graining goes away magically all of a sudden. So I'll bring up the image for you guys now. So this was the slow-mo that we got. It looked bad. This was lap 29, guys. I saw this on the slow-mo and I was like, geez, that's bad. At this point, I was thinking, you got to pit Max. I mean, he's got so much pace. He had about a 6 or 7 lead at this point. That didn't seem to be like, the race was a bit dull, at this point in the race. It didn't seem to be any chance of safety car or anything like that. Of course, there always is, but I was just like, this is dangerous. Like, imagine this kind of, it looks bad. So I just thought, yeah, from a risk management point of view, I thought it was sensible to pit him. I would love to know like how long it could go for. That's something I'm not sure. How long can a tire in this condition carry on? Interesting that it's the right front that we're looking at here. Normally on this track, because there's a lot of right-handers, it's the left front that's copping it and getting loaded. So I tried to get a shot for you guys. And yeah, they kept following the right front, the camera. So we saw that here, but then I did just get a sneak of it over here. It looks much better on my screen compared to what you guys see. It looks a bit blurry there, but it's the same sort of thing. It's the inside shoulder. It's indicative of a lot of negative camber. Now that's the reason they're doing that is because if you imagine the tire's contact patch with the road is 100% perfect, well, that's rolling resistance. And then you give it a little bit of negative camber, lift the edges of the tire off the road and put more pressure on the inside shoulder, bang, you get mad straight line speed. And then, yeah, that's exactly what you're looking for in Monza. But the con of that, the downside of that, like that in camber to get straight line speed, is that you're wearing the inside quite heavily and quite aggressively. I'd love to see the in camber number, like what camber they were running versus other cars. I think that would be interesting. If you do pay attention to the pit stops, you'll be able to see it, because what happens in the pit stops is they put on a brand new set of compounds. It's full shiny. And then you see the dust where it picks up, where the tire picks up because it's making contact with the road, and it's quite dusty in the pit lane. And you can observe how much like the width of dust on the tire versus where the tire is actually off the ground and not picking up dust. So if you ever see a pit lane, a pit stop, and like you would have seen it during the race today, if you ever see, just pay attention to that next time, because it'll give you an indication of how much camber the guys are running. I didn't see it on Max. I think I saw it on the Ferrari pit stops. If you go back and have a look, you'll see it. Oh, what the hell? I'll just show it to you guys now. I just spent 5 minutes trying to get the images for you so you didn't have to go have a look. Here's probably the best shot. So this is, Charles has just put on a new set of tires, and then across here, you'll see that it's touching the ground and that it's picked up all that dust. And then the brand new, compound is shiny black there as well. And then if you see like the right front, for example, you see the same sort of thing, the in camber here, and then, the new part there. So look, if you've got a good eye, you can just compare car to car, driver to driver. Anyway, probably Max was running more negative camber than other cars, and that induced his blistering. Not sure if you guys saw as well, but Piastri's move on Leclerc around the outside of Lesmos 1 was outrageous. Like quality stuff. Didn't look like someone who was in the lead of the World Championship, just wanted to have a safe and easy race. It was like, yeah, all in, but like measured. It was in the same way. It was like measured, but it was also aggressive and risky. It was just a crazy, beautiful move. It was up there with some of the ones that he's done on Hamilton recently, like around turn 9 and 10 in Melbourne in the wet. At the same time, it was like measured, but pulled it off in a way that didn't look risky. And also the one on Hamilton in turn 22 in Saudi was also class. So yeah, but just thought I'd call it out. It's a beautiful move by Oscar Piastri, and that's such a handy skill to have, to be able to just cut through someone when you have to. Leclerc got it back in also a really nice way when Max had to give that place back to Lando from turn 1. So Leclerc just taking advantage of the opportunity there with a little bit of action at turn 1, and Oscar was caught out by surprise. So I thought it was a really good piece of overtaking by Charles as well, and Charles with some good defense down the pit straight thereafter as well. So I thought I'd call out just some good racecraft from those guys, Piastri and Leclerc. Alonso had a big suspension failure on the right front coming onto the exit of Ascari on the curb. Interesting, because it was, he was a little bit wide, a little bit offline, and then bang, it just popped the suspension. I'll show you guys the picture now. Yeah, here it is. Here, like I say, he was just slightly wide. It must have been where this curb starts to taper down a little bit, potentially. I'm not sure. It makes me wonder about like everything that we've been saying this weekend about the entry curbs. It makes me wonder if it's like an engineer's directive to be saying to the drivers, don't touch the curbs because we're going to break the suspension. A lot of the guys in my comments are like, they can't take the curbs because of the floor, damage the floor can't do it, the cars are too low, they're too stiff, the floor. But seeing this now has kind of opened my eyes. Maybe it's not the floor, maybe it's the suspension can't deal with that impact on an entry curb, which is one philosophy. Could be true. I'm not sure. I have no idea what the engineers are telling the drivers and what the drivers want to do and how much they're kind of hamstrung in a way and can't do it. Because then you see examples of drivers riding curbs, like George Russell's pole in Canada was all about curb riding. You see this sort of thing in Imola. We called it out, like Alex Albon just started taking beautiful entry curbs and started swallowing and attacking Leclerc in front of him. So this was like, we hadn't seen this all weekend up to this point. And then again, you see some of them trying to ride the exit curbs as well, which is not. So there's conflicting stories here. It's like, yes, it could damage the car, it could be risky, but then you see them trying it in weird ways on exit curbs or later on in the race, for example. And that's exactly what we saw in the race as well. We saw it in the hands of Carlos Sainz. Have a look at this, down into turn 1. That looks pretty good. Like I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking at this saying, where's this been all weekend? Like, and I said in my preview, I'm like, oh man, these orange curbs, they look big, right? Personally, I wouldn't do it. But then I kind of went on to say, it's worth trying it. Like, I'm here from Australia. I don't know. Like, I haven't done the track walk. I can't see. They look high, but it's worth a try. Like, what's the worst that can happen? This looks pretty good. The way he's done this as well he's completely avoided the orange one. So beautiful from Carlos. Let's go back and have a look at that for a sec. So the right front goes slightly inside this orange sausage curb, which means the orange part runs straight underneath the car. Yep, as you can see. And, is he still within track limits? Probably the left rear. The left front is questionable, but the left rear, it does the fronts are off the ground at this point. I can see him turning and the car's not turning. But it just goes to show, like, it's not, that's not the worst run I've seen through turn 1. Again, there's no curiosity. They're not, for me at least, they're not trying it enough. They're not exploring enough, particularly at Ascari. Whether or not the suspension is an issue, I just thought I'd talk about Alonso's suspension issue. Maybe that's a reason why they're not riding the entry curb at Ascari. I'm not sure, but if there's half a chance, try it. Let's say you try it in practice and break the suspension. Cool. Like, put a new one on and go back out. Like Alonso could have changed that in 10, 15 minutes back at the pits in practice. So yeah, it's not sure. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. I thought it was a shame for Fernando because tactically he was brilliant and technically he was brilliant as well. Just have a look at the way he closed up to Gabby Bortoleto under braking in the pit stop, because he knew that his garage was before the Stakes garage and that the unsafe release rule would have to apply to Gabby if Aston could do a good pit stop. Like, that's class from Fernando. If he gets a half decent car, tactically, he's one of the best on the grid. And he does stuff that that's not even in my book of tricks. You know what I mean? Like, I've got an extensive list of driver coaching tools on tactics, like safety car restarts, attack, defense, starts in general, like pulling to the inside, fighting and competing for corners, a DRS, playing around with DRS. But this, like, a Fernando always gives you a new one to add to the book. What is this? Follow the car nice and close so that you leverage the unsafe release. Like, that's quality. That's above my level. I don't know. I haven't seen that before. So if Fernando gets a half decent car next year, tactically, like, what about in 2007 in Hungary, just off the top of his head, without thinking about it, without planning it, holds Lewis Hamilton up in the pit lane so that Lewis doesn't get his final run. Now, against the rules, got a penalty, whatever, but it's just an insight into his mind. He's just like, that's exceptional from Fernando. Like I say, give him a decent car next year. I'll be excited to see, how he defends into turn one, for example. It'll be super cool to watch. Finally, we need to talk about the McLarens and their little pit stop dilemma at the end. Lando, being the nice guy that he is, was kind of like, well, you can pit Oscar first if he's under attack. Otherwise, pit me, but don't undercut me. Whatever you do, just make sure. And they're like, no, we won't undercut. Next thing you know, Piastri undercuts Lando. Now, it wasn't an undercut in the purest sense. Obviously, Lando had a slow pit stop, and then Piastri finds himself with track position. What do you do if you're Oscar Piastri at that point? I'm pretty sure if you surveyed 1,000 Formula One fans, you would get 50% of them say, let Lando through. You would get 50% of them say, you're fighting for a championship, just crack on, get your head down and take the points. I don't know. It's tricky. It's a difficult one. I think you've got to put it in the context of what happened last time out in Netherlands, and then furthermore, the context of what happened in Hungary as well. In Netherlands, Lando's McLaren blew up. If you're Oscar, you wouldn't want to be the one trying to get extra points and claim that the team is, do you know what I mean? Your championship rival blew up. And so you're kind of like, next thing you know, like, if let's say Oscar just holds on to this, the next thing you know is you have a fuel pressure problem or something like that, because it's just, so you just got to be like, it's important to keep the harmony within the team. That's one side of it. The other side of it is, man, he's looking at a points extension and one less race for Lando to close that back. It's a pretty nice, handsome offer as well. But I thought it was well managed by Oscar. He was like, obviously in the heat of the moment in the cockpit, he's like, well, that's part of racing, slow pit stops. But then, upon reflection, he was like, yeah, fair enough. He didn't want to annoy the team. I think I agree with Oscar's approach. Again, in the context of Hungary last year, something similar happened. Lando took a little bit more time to just give it back. In this case, Oscar was like, yeah, had his little moment and then gave it back pretty quickly. I think it was fair from Oscar. Like, again, just in the context of the retirement last weekend, you're good, mate. You missed FP1. This thing happened. It's only third versus second. It's probably a little bit different if it's first versus second, because a win is worth a little bit more as well. So it's only P2, P3. He missed FP1. He's probably thinking, let me just collect the points and we'll get out of here. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below on that one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you could leave me a comment of any kind, a question, a thought, or something you learned or enjoyed throughout the weekend, something you noticed as well, I'd definitely love to hear from you. And we'll be back for the preview of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix on the Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you there.